I'll start with my chair collage, I guess. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Alright.
Oh, it says the host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, wait, let me change that real quick. All right, let me know if you can do it now.
Okay. Yeah. Um, can you guys see my screen?
No.
Oh,
No.
wait. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. So this is my collage. My quote, I have a couple, but the one that I really liked was, "Old empty chairs are not empty in reality. Memories always sit there."
I like
So
that.
I have a seating area with a couple of chairs and a tufted couch, leather couch. And then there's Robert De Niro. He says if it's the right chair, it doesn't take too long to get comfortable in it. And then another, I guess I like leather chairs. There's a recliner and then a couple of other interesting looking chairs. So I really didn't have too much attachment, honestly, to the chairs. I just kind of chose things that I thought were cool looking. So that's it for mine.
Gotcha. I like it.
Thank you.
All right.
How do I, okay, so I stop share.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then I'll share mine next.
Okay.
All right, share screen. All right, 1 second. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, so these are like the chairs I chose. I kind of like weird chairs in a way. But I chose the quote, "A house that does not have one comfy chair is soulless" by Stephen King. So like the top three are all different shapes of chairs. And then the bottom, like left one, is kind of like an average chair. I feel like you see in more like modern homes. And then like the second one on the bottom is just like, it seems like it's like a wider seat and just more comfy. And then the last one is like a couch, but it doesn't seem like it'd be like a hard couch to sit on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that looks really comfortable.
Yeah.
There's definitely a theme with that one.
Yeah, for sure. But like the top left one, like I just really want a gigantic beanbag chair because I think it'd be really nice.
I grew up in the 70s and we had beanbag chairs when I was a kid.
Nice. And I feel like just having a big beanbag chair would just be like childhood, you know? But
For
like
sure.
Oh,
adult.
definitely.
But yeah, those are my chairs that I chose.
Nice.
Alrighty. There we go.
I can go next unless you want to, Colin.
That's fine. You can go.
All
I'll
right.
bring it up.
All right. So, mine, I also had the quote by Robert De Niro. If it's the right chair, it doesn't take too long to get comfortable in it. Y'all can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I too tend to like a little more unconventional chairs, as you can see by the top left and the top right chairs there. You know, I used to have, I probably should have included one of those, but like those, the base is almost like an hourglass shape and the top chair part is like a bowl. I used to have one of those. My daughter currently has like a giant beanbag chair in her room. So I tend to like things that are really well padded, but also interesting to look at. Like it doesn't just have to be a seat; it can also be art. But a pretty common thing amongst all these different chairs, they all look comfortable to me. Even the one in the lower right, like I don't know how many different meetings y'all have went to, but like even those like static chairs that don't recline or whatnot, some of those can be relatively comfortable if thought of well enough to like support the curvature of the back and everything. In particular, the one on the lower left here would be the one that I like the best. I'm a gamer for one, and for two, like having the availability to adjust so many different sizes and like relative lengths of the chair allows it to be more comfortable for the individual, and that's a pretty big thing because it's hard to make one chair that everybody feels comfortable in. Whereas if you can make one that's adjustable, it's it might take a while to get set up, but once it's set up, you set in it and it like just immediately just feels comforting, or at least that's how it is for me with my own personal chair. So
I feel the same way about that.
yeah.
I'm gonna sit at a desk for hours a day. I want to be comfortable.
Exactly. Like it makes such a big difference.
Okay, I'll share mine. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of went with some variety here. I really wasn't sure uh, what in particular I wanted to go for, so I just kind of went with everything.
I like it.
So the first one's obviously some lawn chairs out in the pasture, it looks like. I thought that was just kind of calming, just you in the outdoors.
Just having a beer.
Yep. The next one's obviously a computer chair. It looks very contemporary, just a nice office, somewhere to sit. Simple, but probably still pretty ergonomic. The next one I went for was looks like a luxury car, and I'm sure those are adjustable and very comfortable and expensive. The next one I went with is a porch swing. I thought it just kind of looked cool. Next one's more of a modern looking chair that you'd probably see at an office like Apple or Microsoft, trying to be fancy and have everything look very modern. I doubt anyone actually sits in them because it doesn't look very comfortable to me. But the next one, I'm pretty modern living room. Everyone looks very comfortable. Everyone always wants to sit in the living room, be social. And my quotes, chair is not just a seat, it's the key to the whole interior. I thought that really resonates because a lot of times when you're talking to someone in a house or really anywhere, the chairs can really bring you together, comfort. And my second quote is a person never sits in one stationary position. It's ridiculous to work out a theoretical one position chair. And that makes sense. Not everyone's going to be able to be comfortable in one chair. I think that's all I have.
I like your variety.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do as well, actually. The inclusion of the car in particular, like I didn't even think of those as being chairs, but clearly are. And one we spend a whole lot of time into as
Oh, yeah,
well.
definitely.
I really like the second quote. A person like doesn't stay in like one chair.
Mm-hmm. It took me a while to find a second quote. It kind of looked blank. Or it looked off with just one quote in there. So I tried to find another one, and it kind of took me a while, but I like that one once I found it.
Yeah, I like it.
We move on to the matrix.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first on this one?
I can if nobody else does.
Sure.
Go for it.
All right. Here. Share my screen. All right. So I'm just gonna be honest here. I waited almost too long to get started on this to do a scavenger hunt, so all of mine are outdoor chairs. If I would have thought about this, I would have taken it to the office, and we have some of those modern and probably uncomfortable chairs. So. Although we also have some that are like a rectangle that are like padded on every side. Those are really good to nap in. But so the first one here is like a group lounge. It was found outside of our museum, like the local museum a few blocks away, and it's centered around the centerpiece of like a light up ball. You can't really see it from the picture, but they're made to be, they support like leaning back and reclining. That's pretty much the only comfortable position in them.
Mm-hmm.
But what's kind of nice about them is they're made to contour to the body in a way that the body also has to contour to it. And they're very comfortable, even though they are hard wood and whatnot. You get to recline, put your feet up. I mean, there pretty much isn't an option not to, unless you're gonna sit with your legs off the side or something. I had it as being pretty comfortable. I'm not sure the cost, but I imagine something like that is probably not the most efficient cost-wise. I think the environmental impact is actually pretty good, to be honest. Like it's not plastic, and those have been there for years, and I've never seen them damaged or had to be replaced. Also, I would rate them pretty good as far as safety, for the fact that it would be pretty hard to fall out of them unless you were misusing them. I don't know how sustainable they are, like in the long term. I do worry that, like, thinking about it, I don't know how often they weatherproof it or anything, but if that were not to be upkept, I could see where the sustainability might be an issue. Their social impact I rated pretty high though, because they are centered around the main art piece in a way that even if you don't interact with other people, you're still in a social environment. The functionality I put relatively high. It would be a little higher if it accommodated more setting styles. And I think their aesthetic is generally good. The single seat ones were at the local apartment, and those they're like in the communal area. I don't think they're very comfortable personally. I also don't imagine they're very cost efficient when compared to like a bench or any of these group seatings that are portrayed here. Because typically, from what I've experienced with lawn furniture, your single chairs cost more than, like, buying 3 of those costs more than buying 1 bench would. I'm not entirely sure what they're made out of, to be quite frank. So it was kind of hard to estimate their environmental impact. Yet again, I think they're relatively safe unless they're being misused. Decently sustainable. There's a lot more space between these, which it's not quite as encouraging of socializing, but it's not necessarily discouraging of it either. But it does give you more personal space and less incentive to communicate with the people around you. The main points for the rest of these that stand out, the pool lounges I felt were probably the cheapest as far as cost and the cost of replacement. They probably hold up fairly well over time. You can't tell it from the picture quite so much, but they are plastic, so that can become brittle with the sun. But it would still be years out before you would see issues, and they would be relatively cheap to replace compared to these all wooden seats. The semicircle benches I had as being relatively unsafe. And I think a lot of that comes with just like the freedom of ways you could utilize it. Like it doesn't necessarily show any way in particular the body should be portrayed along it. So, you know, you might have somebody that like laid across it or whatnot. And, it just has I think more of a higher chance of harm to the user from the fact that it's not so defining of how the user should use it. The wooden bench, probably the most cost effective as far as long term and also fairly environmentally friendly, but not necessarily the most comfortable or prettiest thing to look at.
Mhm.
Are there any like questions y'all had about the scores I gave or anything? I don't want to miss any
I
points.
just really like your photography. That was the thing that stuck out to me. I think it's great that you waited and took the pictures at night.
Yeah, they it was nice to be able to get the chair as a centerpiece instead of having to worry about like how many people might be around and utilizing them to where you couldn't tell what was actually
Right.
the focal point.
For sure.
And as low of a score as I gave to the semicircle benches, I think they're like a really good art piece for the area they're in. They look very natural. They fit in with the green and wooden color, but like they're not necessarily, I've sat on them and they're not really that comfortable. Like I would honestly prefer the bench for the back support.
I agree.
Thank you.
All right. Hand it off to whoever's next.
Alrighty, I can go next. Alright, share screen. Alright, can y'all see that?
Yes.
All right. So I didn't do it in Excel because I couldn't really figure that out. So my first one is a swing set. Comfortable. It's around a 2. Used to be more comfortable as a kid, I feel like. The cost, I looked it up and it wasn't too expensive for it. And I feel like they always tend to last, like going to like sustainability, they tend to last pretty long, just like upkeep of maintenance on it. The environmental impact, I feel like they're good in parks, but they're probably not good for the earth with like having it be metal and plastic. Safety is a 3 because kids do fall off them and get hurt. Social impact is a 7 because usually they're at parks, so then like families, kids are all there. The function is a 3 because they do tend to break and like with rain and weather. The aesthetic of it is around a 2. So then like in total I gave them 32 points. The second one is a modern chair. So I took this picture when I was at Chautauqua, New York this past weekend. It was in this cute little cafe. It wasn't that comfortable to sit in. The cost seems really cheap because it seems like it just was like plastic and like it could break pretty easily because it was pretty wobbly. Environmental impact, it's plastic, so yeah. The safety of it, because it was wobbly, I would give it like a 5. Sustainability, pretty low. Social impact was a 6 because like all the chairs were the same, so like you didn't really have to like pick out a different chair to sit in, so then everyone could like have the same seat. Function was a 5, and then aesthetic was a 6 because I really like the color of it. The third one I have is just a bench. I gave this comfortable was a 4. Cost was an 8 because it has like the logo on it and everything of the sailboat. Environmental impact is a 5 because it does have wood on it, so that's like more long lasting and can like be taken down better than the metal. Safety is a 7. Sustainability is a 7. social impact is a 7 because like everyone can just sit there and talk. Function is a 6, and then aesthetic is a 4. The next one is like just a breakfast island stool. It was pretty comfortable. The cost seems like be a 7. Um, environmental impact is a 6. Safety is a 6. I felt like it could have been lower for safety because like I have fallen off of one of those when I was younger. Sustainability is a 4. Social impact is a 4. Function is a 4, and then aesthetic is a 5. The next one is the egg chair. This chair was also at the cafe. It was in a different room. It was pretty comfortable to sit in because of the padding it had. The cost seems like it would be around a 5. Um, environmental impact, it was made out of bamboo, so that's pretty good for the earth. Safety is a 3 because it was kind of hard to get in and out of because it sits very low. Sustainability is a 4. Social impact is a 2 because it kind of just closes you off, so you're kind of like in your own space. Function is a 2, and then aesthetic is a 7. And then the last one is just like it's an outside like lounge chair or patio chair, but they had them inside as well. They were really comfortable sitting because they were pretty wide. The cost was like around a 5. Environmental impact is around a 3 because it seems like that would be like harder material to like break down. Safety is a 7. Sustainability is a 6 because it had like, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's to make things like stay better longer outside, you know? Social impact is around a 5 because like all the chairs were like around each other so you could like talk to everyone. Functions a 6, and then aesthetics a 6. Yeah.
So you scored the bench or the highest.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a bench is always just like a go-to thing that like it's like safe, comfortable, or like decently comfortable. It's not like the most comfortable, obviously, but like definitely gets a lot of use by a lot of people. And there's not much like maintenance, I feel like, required for a bench.
Yeah.
Can't go really wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nice.
say again.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's good.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of the scoring too, especially on the egg chair. Like it certainly seems more of an art piece than like as a functional chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it kind of just like closes you off a bit to like around
Right, yeah.
anything like directly in front of you.
Cool.
All right.
I can go next. Okay, so I couldn't go exploring as much because I live an hour and a half out of a town. So just kind of took things around my house and one picture at a friend's house. So my first one, just a leather couch in my living room. I rated that a 10 for comfort. I mean, there's not much more anything comfortable around my house other than my couch. The cost, I ranked it pretty low because their couches are expensive. For the environmental impact, it's real leather, so I've always heard that leather's not very good for the environment. A safety, I kind of ranked it in the middle. I mean, it has a lounging type mechanic, so I guess if you get stuck in that, you could pinch yourself. So I just kind of put it in the middle. Sustainability, kind of ranked it right around environmental impact. Sometimes couches last long, sometimes they don't. I guess kind of flip for that. Social impact, I ranked it pretty high because usually if you're sitting on a couch, you're talking to someone. For function, I also ranked it pretty high. It does what it's supposed to. It's comfortable. It's social piece. For aesthetics, for the room it's in, looks good. So I ranked it fairly high. The next one on my list is the porch swing. I guess I probably should have put them in order in the pictures. But first, comfort, I give it a little lower score, but still up there. For cost, I ranked it higher because it's fairly easy to build, and it's just wood and a metal chain, so it's not like it's real expensive in any sort of way. For environmental impact, I ranked it pretty high because it is wood and a metal chain. If you ever need it replaced, just grab a 2x4 and some nails and or some screws, and you could probably fix it yourself. For safety, I ranked this one the lowest out of all of them because depending how hard you're swinging, you could probably fall off and get hit by it. So that's why I ranked it pretty low. For sustainability, I kind of give it the same thing as like a environmental impact. It's there's not much you can break with it or anything. Social impact, I ranked it kind of in the middle. Usually where this is located, there's other chairs, so you could always be talking with people. For function, it's a swing, so it works. Aesthetics, I ranked it pretty high. My next one, my car chair or seat, driver's seat. Comfort, I ranked it fairly high. It's comfortable, gets me to work. For costs, I ranked it very low. Cars aren't cheap. You usually can't buy the seats alone. So environmental impact, I ranked it kind of in the middle. I did this because Ford says it's all recycled material. So I ranked it somewhere in the middle. You got to buy a car to get the seat. So I couldn't rank it high because of that. Safety, I put a 10. I don't think you're ever going to hurt yourself in this unless you get in a crash. So, and it's designed to protect you. So I ranked it fairly high for that. Sustainability, kind of gave it a low. It's in a car. I mean, if something breaks on it or anything like that, you're most likely probably gonna have to replace the whole thing. Social impact, I gave it a 3. I'm usually by myself when I'm driving, so there's not much social interaction I have. For function, I ranked it a 10. It does what it's supposed to. It's comfortable to drive in. Aesthetics, I think looks pretty good. Good design. Materials feel nice. My next one, a wooden table chair. I give it a 5. Chairs like these really aren't comfortable, so I just kind of ranked it in the middle. Cost is 6. It's wood, so it's fairly cheap, but depending on the design of a wooden chair and stuff like that, and this one in particular, they're not usually inexpensive. They're usually kind of in the middle. Environmental impact, I put a 6. It's wood. I mean, safety, I put a 5. I don't know, I guess you could fall off or stub your toe on it or something. Sustainability, I put an 8. Social impact, I put a 6 because if you're eating with someone else, it's usually talk with them while you eat. Function, I put an 8. It's useful for what you're doing. You're eating while you sit in it. Works just as good as any other chair. Aesthetics, I ranked it a 8 because it fits the room. For my last one, I found a lawn chair at my buddy's house. I ranked it a 6. It's comfortable. I mean, it's a lawn chair. Cost, I put a 10. It's cheap. So I kind of rank my costs, and the higher you go, the cheaper it is. The lower you go, the more expensive.
That's smart.
You can always pick one of these up at Walmart or Target or online somewhere. They're usually inexpensive. Environmental impact, I ranked it pretty low, kind of in the middle. It's plastic and metal, and they usually don't last very long. Safety, I put same area. These things always tend to break, and usually when you're sitting in them. So sustainability, I put 3 because they don't last very long. Social impact, usually when you have one of these, you have other people around chatting around a bonfire or something. 7 for function. Usually they do what you need. You can sit on them so you're not laying in the grass or on concrete or something like that. For aesthetics, I put just middle of the road. There's probably worse designs. There's probably better designs. So that's what I got.
I like it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me try to share my screen. All right.
Do you think you'll have enough time to do it? Because it looks like there's time running out. It's
Oh,
like,
there's only 4 minutes. I'll speed through it and then we'll
All right.
jump on those questions so that I can do that summary real quick.
all right, I got you.
Okay, can you see these? I mean, nope, wrong one.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. All right, so can you see the pictures? All right, so I have a swing bench. For safety, I'll just point safety out. I put that as a 3 because as we've all noticed, swings can be dangerous. The three of us have used swings in our matrix, so yeah, I put that low for safety. The movie theater seats, these are the lounge seats, and so for comfortability, I put 10. And then I have public transit train seats. These were actually pretty comfortable. They get a lot of use. They're made of fabric, but they were pretty comfortable. And then there's outdoor tables and chairs. We can see that there. And then the last one was public transit benches, which are made of concrete. So they weren't very comfortable. They didn't cost very much. So I put cost low. Environmental impact was high. I don't know if that's accurate, but of all these, the movie seats ranked the highest. They were the most comfortable. They were also pretty expensive, but anyway, that's why I ranked them the highest, because of the comfortability. So I'll just stop sharing there real quick so that we can get on to our 3 questions. The first question that we're supposed to go over, we've got like 2 minutes to go. What are the 3 lessons learned about design in general? Does anybody have a comment about that?
Well, throughout like all of it, I kind of learned that like there's just a whole different design for everything, and like when you actually look at it, like there's very small details and everything that you don't notice when you just like glance over
Yeah.
things.
One of the quotes that I wrote down was that everything is design.
Yeah. Got a purpose, even if you don't realize it.
I have a couple other quotes that I wrote down. One was fail quickly and fail often. That was from one of the videos that I thought was really good. And then design must have long-term significance. It's not style or fashion.
Nice.
Question number 2, we've got a minute left. What are the 3 things our group learned about seats and seating? Since we went over all these, our collages and our matrices, what did you learn about seats and seating?
Well, from like the chair collage, that like everyone, you can tell that each one of us have like different preferences on like what we find comfortable or like,
sure.
the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, agree. I'd say that I really learned that, for instance, what's comfortable and what's aesthetically pleasing is fairly relative to the situation and the person perceiving it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.